this meeting to order. Roll call.
Counselor Lehman.
Here.
Counselor Marcus.
Here.
Counselor Larson.
Here.
Counselor Keekly.
Here.
Mayor Swanson.
Here. Reports from department, or no, I'm sorry, we're going through our 2019 proposed budget, and we'll start with the city council. And I see there's an increase in $600. What's that
Yep,
for?
there's an increase of $655, and that is in case we have 2 new counselors,
Training and
so
travel.
for training. So that's the only increase, otherwise pretty much everything is the same.
Right.
So that's at $15,155.
Very good. Everyone okay with that? We'll move on to the mayor's.
How'd you get that? Probably packet.
It should be in.
Oh,
there you
okay.
go. All right. Now, the mayor's you increased slightly too, and I think for the same reason, for training and such.
Training for the League of Minnesota Cities Mayors Conference.
Sure.
So, and that one's set at $5,172.
So an increase of about $200.
$200.
Yeah. Is everyone okay with that? Okay. We'll move on to administration.
Administration actually decreases from the 2018 budget by $3,800. And the reason for that is because when we were doing the 2018 budget, we did not have our new clerk. So we budgeted for health insurance for family, and our new clerk has individual coverage. So that is the main reason for the decrease from 18 budget to 2019 budget, even though our health insurance is increasing. So the 2019 budget is at $144,795.
So thank you, Ryan, for being single. All right, very good. And elections. We put away something for the off years.
Right, we have to, even if it's not election year, we still have election equipment maintenance that the county does on the equipment, and so we have to pay that every year.
So that's $460.
Yes. The finance, that is increasing by $2,250. The main reason for that is the actuary services that we will be needing to have done for our OPEB liability. I don't know if you remember from the June meeting when Bonnie was here, but there's a new GASB 75 coming out, so we're actually going to have an actuary study done, and she estimated it's around $2,000 or so.
So you put that in under accounting fees?
Yes, yep. So that's the main increase. So that budget went up to $17,485.
Okay. Very good.
The next one is legal.
Oh, my God.
Not much of a change there, just a slight increase for ordinance publication. Since we're going through and doing a lot of amending to our ordinances.
I was gonna ask about planning and zoning, but if that's where you got it there,
Yes.
because,
From legal.
yeah, I was wondering if, where that,
Oh, where it was in the budget? Yeah, it's under the legal. So,
Okay. So far, so good.
all right. Personnel, that increased by $570, and the main reason is for the background checks and the drug testing. We usually have about 4 ring people, 4 beach people, and 6 summer people are about, but, and everybody has to go for a drug test, and that cost has increased slightly. So, and then the background checks are only $15 a piece, so I estimated we'll maybe have 4 of them that will need background checks, because if they're under 18, then we don't do background checks.
Okay.
Planning and zoning, that's 1,150. I put $1,000 in there for engineering design to update some of our maps. Like our zoning map hasn't been updated for quite a while. The Stubler pit lot map
Right.
hasn't been updated since we increased the lot sizes.
Right.
City map hasn't been done for a long time.
Well, I have a feeling too that some money's gonna have to be put away in the next couple of years for recodifying again, because a lot of changes have been coming to the ordinance
I
book.
think last time we had that done, it was about $2,500.
Yeah. City Hall,
City Hall, about the same, $165 increase. Really nothing new here.
no,
It's at $14,665. The main expenses are the insurance and the utilities, gas and electric and water.
right.
Any questions on
Very
that?
good, very good, okay.
Law enforcement. I received an email from Jason Ackerson saying that our hourly rate was going to increase to 70 from 60. So that's why the increase in this budget of $9,800, it increased to $72,800.
I would actually like to see this budget stay the same, because it's the one part of our budget that we actually have some control over. And when we cut it the first time, it was because our school was empty and they understood that we needed to set money aside for our school. I think that what I would like to see is this remain where it was at 63,000 for now. And if and when we get that school occupied, any monies that we haven't spent keeping the building going, we may want to have more law enforcement coverage then anyway, if we have things going on in town. But it's the only part of the budget that I see that we have control over yet. And I just hate to throw an extra 10,000 in here.
We don't do much. We don't have them coming here that much, and I wouldn't want to decrease that, and that's what we would do.
It would go to
Well, we increased it this year.
17 hours a week
Right.
versus the 20 that we're doing now.
Right.
I'm sure that covers the wages, huh?
Covers all it's their overtime costs, basically. So I'm assuming that they had increases at the county for their health care and para and wages, so.
Right.
Yeah, we've got a month and a half
And a lot of what we get are overtime hours because they sign up for those hours
Right,
too.
it's all overtime.
Yeah. So it doesn't hurt the county's budget so much as it just re-enhances what we have going for law enforcement
Yep.
in town.
And that's the 24 hours a week,
20,
20?
yep. At the 72,800 would be the 20 hours. If it was kept at the 63,000, it would be 17 hours a week.
I'm not in favor of backing off on our hours.
I just want to keep our budget as
Well,
low as we can. And there's been an understanding with the county that that was the reason why, is because we're having to take care of that big monster down the street. That's just my opinion. I think that we should keep this budget where it's at. It's one that we still can control pretty much. And if we occupy that school, we're gonna have to set monies aside to heat it this winter, to take care of it. And any money's not used, if somebody occupies it, we'd be able to put right into this budget and increase hours.
we still have money in that account. You have like 80,000 or 75,000.
Right, but anything that we don't use, we can always go back into law enforcement with. We can always shift the monies back over if we don't need it. I just hate to take more than we need to take away from the taxpayers. That's my thought.
Mine is where we leave it where it's at.
I don't know, do we need to make a decision on this tonight, or do?
No.
Okay. Well, something to think about then.
The fire department budget, that actually decreased by $3,885. A lot of the increase was, or decrease, I'm sorry, was for uniforms decreased.
With the grants they got?
Yeah, and just where we're sitting now, so felt comfortable decreasing that amount.
Okay.
And you were making some adjustments, you said, too.
Yeah, and we just kind of been watching what we haven't been spending a lot, so we have a chance to bring it down a little bit with regards to the money that's left over. We still need capital, so.
Sure,
But we felt comfortable bringing the budget to where it's at.
very good. I see you're not putting anything into capital equipment or vehicles?
We would just be asking for anything that's unspent to be rolled over.
Well, the
again
rent
at the
on
end
the
of the year.
building and-
then with the
We're gonna roll
leases
into
and that, down the road, we know we're gonna hang on to that. The city wants to hang on to that for a while.
Right,
Once we know what's gonna happen long-term,
right.
we're hoping that money will offset what
Yeah.
we're trying to put in
We'll be able
capital
to
right
roll
now.
it over into there at that point,
So.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, and that's, it's, do we budget 3,000 or do we just bring our budget down, which again, I think we're comfortable with.
okay.
And then pinch pennies through the years in hopes that whatever we have left at the end of the year, you guys roll back over into our fund for capital.
Sure,
Okay,
So,
yeah.
sounds good, all right. The fire station,
The fire station, that increased, mainly due to utilities.
sure.
So that's at $6,870.
Okay. And building inspectors.
And building inspectors, about the same, $3,080, a slight increase. Whatever we take in for building permits gets paid out, so the revenues and the
Pretty much a
expenses match. The only thing that, is out of our pocket basically is the forms,
Sure.
so. And that's it for tonight for the budget.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana.
Very good. We'll move on to the report from the department heads. There's no public works here tonight. Fire and ambulance,
I have nothing really other than the budget talk, so.
engineering, attorney. No, Mike? Got nothing?
Just what's on the agenda, Mayor?
Okay. Long range planning and zoning.
Yeah, we had a meeting last week, we had a citizens complaint and then some ordinance review talked about, and what else do we have?
That's about it.
That's about it.
Recreation board?
We didn't have a meeting,
We're on the agenda anyhow.
however, it's on the agenda, we're just gonna be looking for,
Hires for the skating shop?
yeah,
Sign up.
Library board will meet next week. The library newsletter will come out at the end of this month for November, December, so if anyone wants to put anything in the newsletter, tomorrow is actually the deadline, so. That's that. VEDA meets at the end of the month, maybe. We may have an emergency meeting. If anything comes up, we'll have a special meeting, I should say. Otherwise, it falls on Halloween, and we've decided we would roll over for a month unless something comes up. Sheriff?
I don't have anything if you got anything, right?
No.
Because we got a report last,
We reported
Yeah.
last one,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll get a report at the next meeting. Clerk?
Just a reminder that the next council meeting will be Monday, the 5th, the day before election, and also City Hall will be open till 5 o'clock that day for anyone who wants to vote early or last minute, whichever way you look at it. Also, our engineer did update our 5-year capital improvement plan with all the video televising that they got from Rapid Rooter. So I do have copies, limited copies, if any of the council would like to take it home, take a look at it. All I ask is that I get them back until I get a few more copies. Also, on Thursday at 10 o'clock, Representative Sandstead is going to come up and just do a walkthrough of the school. She's working on a few things that are coming up in the next session and with money being available for different things. So I'm hoping she'll fill me in a little bit more come Thursday, but just think it's important to keep, all the decision makers in play and keep a bug in their ear, so to speak.
That was 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. That's about all I have.
Okay. And the Central Sanitary Sewer District meets next month?
Yeah, Canvas. It's every other month.
Right.
Voting.
Council addition to the agenda. I have an agenda item, just this new sign for up at Burden Park. Those have been sitting there empty, so I'll add that on as last thing. All right. Citizens Forum. Consent agenda minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, council meeting of October 2nd.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Claims?
I make a motion, we pay the claims of $130,128.08 for the same period, October 2nd. Yeah.
February 21.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Resolution 1833 is for the pre-app for the CDBG grant, $90,000 for the deteriorating sewer lines in the Hannah location area. We had a lot of problems over there.
We're asking for about 90,000 and there's about 25, we have capital for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Make the motion to approve resolution 1833.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Just to make it, there's a short strip of alley by Anthony's, and the other one is up by the water tank. Sewer line runs through people's properties, and they were talking about lining it instead of digging up their yards and their driveways. So one they're gonna dig up and fix, and the other one they're gonna line. So
Okay. Resolution
Mayor, can we do
1834. Excuse me?
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Counselor Lehman.
Yes.
Counselor Marcus.
Yes.
Counselor Larson.
Yes.
Counselor Kuechly.
Yes.
Mayor Swanson.
Yes, sorry about that.
No problem.
Resolution 1834, accepting a sponsorship from ArcelorMittal for $500 for the disc golf course.
I'll make a motion, we accept resolution 18-34.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Verizon cell agreement, this is rental of 3 line. Oh, I'm sorry, again with the roll call.
Counselor Lehman.
Yes.
Counselor Marcus. Counselor Larson.
Yes.
Counselor Kuechly.
Yes.
Mayor Swanson.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. All right, Verizon cell agreement. This is for 3 new light poles, $175 rent per pole per year, plus utilities and stronger cell service in town. This agreement is for 25 years.
I indicated to Clerk Permanence that he and I should look at it a little closer. Just got to make sure the 25 years, and then there's non-disclosure in there. We're a municipal entity and transparency and, things are public. And so I need to discuss it a little further. I asked Clerk Permanence, and I think it's not really due till when, but they're looking to get something in place earlier. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So should we make a motion that contingent on our attorney signing off on this agreement?
Right.
That we'll move ahead with
If it won't be for
agreement?
the first meeting in November, it'll be most certainly by the second one in November.
Is that soon enough?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, motion to table.
Just table.
Yes, I would table it.
I'll make a motion to table the settlement agreement.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Rink attendance posting. I'm just a little confused by this. Stuart, are we going to pay $10.50 for rink attendance / or rink supervisor?
No, the 1050 would be for the rink supervisor and the 965 would be for the rink attendance.
Oh,
And the reason I just put the range in is because minimum wage right now is $9.65. Come the first of the year, it actually goes up 15 cents for inflation, so that's why I just listed
okay,
the range.
all right. So do I have a motion to authorize posting for the attendance for the upcoming season?
So moved. Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I was just wondering if maybe this year we could print something up of the rules, and because it seemed that last year some of the attendants didn't really know, or said they didn't know what was right and wrong up there.
I don't know.
Employee handbook.
There were printed rules up there.
It's been a long time since I've been inside. I don't know.
Or some type of little
We
training
might
session or something for them.
Have to do a training session with the employees we get on that. Otherwise, if we're gonna be making signs for the park, we should maybe make some signs for the rink too, stating the rules, cause like in the park, we got one sign that has rules on it and stuff, so.
Well, over at the swimming hole, we've got them posted right on the building. There's all the rules and regulations. Are we talking for the attendants or for the kids who come up there and use it, or both?
Anybody, just what's acceptable and what's not.
I would
By
think,
both
well, we are definitely gonna have to do some training with the
staff?
staff, and I don't think it wouldn't be a bad idea having some rules printed on the side of the building, like what we do at the beach or in the park, letting other people, or some of the kids know that.
That these are the rules, and then who's ever working there has something to point to as to why they are.
Because we've had some problems, and
Okay, well, maybe the rec board could get those all written up, and then we could move on having those posted. That'd be good. So we have a motion on the floor and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Credit card services. Currently, the city uses credit card payment solutions for processing credit debit card payments for the people in town who make those payments, and what it's costing us is what you're looking at here, Diana.
Well, I'm looking to, possibly looking at changing providers.
Right. And it looks like it would save some money, and it would actually give the people in town what they really would like to have, being able to look at their statement and see.
Right, yeah, if we went with PSN and purchased the Banyan module, then everybody, they could go online and look at their balances, their past bills. They could set up reoccurring payments, they could pay with debit card, credit card, they could have it ACH'd, which we have a lot of people. Actually, a lot of the seniors ask for that. So we could just automatically take it out of their account every month.
I know I've had a lot of people who've asked me about that, why doesn't the city do, why
Right.
is it so difficult?
And this would allow us to do that along with when people go online and do it, and we automatically pull it out of their bank account, it would be posted to their account right away.
Right.
So we wouldn't have to do that as well.
And you had 2 quotes here, and you're recommending the PSN?
Well, currently we use card payment solutions, and we have for the last couple years.
So this
But
is just
yes.
an alternative.
Right, this is another, PSN is another one that a lot of towns around the area use.
PSN?
And over time, it looks like it saves you money.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of a little bit better,
Better deal.
Right. But it also, either the city pays the fees or the residents pay the fees. That has to be decided as well.
Right, and user fees are always a little more just, I think. So, do I have a motion to have Diana go ahead and switch over to PSN?
I'll make a motion to switch from card payment solutions to PSN.
On these fees, little brain dead on that. I mean, you're saying if
The
they pay it
monthly-
or we pay it.
Right. If the residents pay it, it's a certain percent, like,
Say if you had a $100 bill,
right, it would be $2.75. So 2.75% is what the fee would be.
yeah,
And if it's under $100, then it's additional 50 cents. But if the city pays the fee, it's lower. They have special rates for utility companies that are taking on the fees. And they said that if the resident pays the fee, they have about up to 10 to 15% people use it. If the cities pay the fees, they have seen it's 30 to 50% people are using the service. So it would increase our
Usage of it.
usage, we would get our money in faster. Because people would use it.
but then we'd pay the fee though.
We do,
But we could,
but we're paying fees right now, not the usage fee, but we're paying hosting fee, we're paying gateway fees, so we're paying about $46 a month right now with our current provider. So there would be, still, we would have a cost, but
You know,
It
it's
would
one
be
of those
offset.
things too, where if we wanted to give it a try, and down the road we decided, hey, these are a lot of extra fees on the city, we could switch it over to being their fees, right?
correct.
So it's not like you're stuck once you decide.
No, we could always change that.
I'll make a motion that way, or you make the motion.
To go with the PSN, and which way do you want to go with the fees?
I would think this, have the city coop them,
Since it's at a much lower rate,
and if we don't need to change it or something down the road, we can.
you're good with that?
That is fine.
I support.
Motion made and supported, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you, Diana, for looking into that. Okay, the school boiler monitoring has been done by Brian Torgerson for a number of years here, and he's willing to continue. Got a set rate in here. We have a motion to move ahead with,
It's pretty much the same.
yeah.
I'll make a motion that we have Brian Torgerson do the boiler safety checks.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried?
we still haven't turned any heat on up there, so.
Yeah, it's
we're
kind
trying
of
to-
chilly now.
We're watching it, but trying to hold up.
Yeah,
Should hold heat for,
Well, we'd even put on low flame now, which you use just a small percent of gas. So even if it stays in the 30s and 40s, it's still good for us, because you can put the boilers on low flame and save a lot of money.
okay. Buhl Curling Club, Community Center, food, beverage licensing. when does this have to go in?
This would be something that would be coming up that we'll have to renew before the first of the year.
Okay, have you talked to anybody who's in the curling club about this?
Not yet. I just kind of wanted to see which way the city wanted to go. I've had a couple conversations with Gary. Basically, the good news is he believes that whether it's the city handling license or the curling club, that we could do a seasonal license that would save, I think it's about $200 total. But during our conversations, he also kind of asked the question and kind of urged the city, since the city doesn't have a lot to do with or anything to do with like the food service up there, that ultimately, if anything was to happen, this, liability wise, the city could be responsible. So he kind of urged me to mention to the council to maybe have the curling club be responsible for that portion of the license.
Well, when we rent it out, I mean, they have it through the winter months, but spring, summer, and fall, if there are weddings or graduation parties and that sort of thing?
When the city rents it out, those are considered private events. The license has no effect on.
Yeah, you cater.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So the license is strictly for the curling club and their events down there?
Hamburgers, chili, whatever you guys.
Does that cover the Deer Hunters banquet too, or,
yes,
because that's,
yeah, that would cover the deer hunters as well.
Well, I would certainly
Well, that's
see
catered,
where,
isn't it?
yeah, but they use the kitchen.
Well, they're still the caterer responsible. I mean, you get Canary or whoever does your catering.
Well, Zups does the catering, but they come in and use the
Yeah.
kitchen and all that, so.
Well, that's still,
as long as the kitchen is up to code.
And that's
all.
the license.
The seasonal is like
they don't
6
cook
months.
there, they heat it up.
No, it actually goes by like number of
Events.
days or events that you use the license.
Isn't it
I
like
mean,
21 in
usually-
here, isn't that what I
21.
read? It'd be good for 21 food
So it
events?
could be,
Just playing.
yeah, just 21 throughout the year.
Yeah,
Right.
And there's not that.
Yeah, so
And
that would easily cover.
Curling Club
Yeah.
has a member that has the food safe certificate. So we put somebody through a
Uh-huh.
day of training for that, so.
yeah,
So
so
they have to apply for the
Yeah.
license, I
I
saw,
have those.
wherever that is.
yeah, I mean, so I
But,
think.
This guy comes every year to the
Right.
thing.
Yeah,
and
it's been there since I've been there.
He bugs me about this thing all the time, and I told him to talk to the city, so this is why it's before us.
Okay, my question, Stuart, is how does I don't want to make a decision that affects the curling club without you guys having some say-so and feedback on what you think about moving ahead with this, because it affects you guys directly.
Well, kind of.
Well, it does if we're gonna have you pay it
Well, I mean, what if they
instead of the city.
serve some contaminated food?
The city has insurance. We're insured.
Well, I mean, you have a state
covers
health
all of our-
inspector that's recommending we go this other route. Why would you not follow this state
Well, so then who
inspector?
are they gonna sue? The curling club?
Well, whoever licensed and insurance, I'm sure when you file for a license, you have to have some sort of insurance liability for that part of it. The building has nothing to do with the kitchen. I mean, when we insure it, we insure the building.
Well, this-
Our insurance doesn't cover the kitchen serving food.
Oh,
That-
I'm not sure about that.
Well, I would put money on it doesn't.
Oh,
the license and stuff, and I think the insurance is
I think
covered
everything is,
through that.
no, not through the licensing.
Those are questions you could get answered.
Yeah,
just
I
so you
think we
have-
need more answers before we move ahead on this, but I really do want the curling club to have some input on the direction we move on this too. I don't want this to be contentious. I want them to be aware that we're looking at it and making a change and how to
I'll make a
do it.
motion that we table this till next meeting.
Okay,
Support.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay. IRRB grant opportunity, this is for recreation purposes. Jim Plummer, who's been a big supporter of our disc golf course and doing the recreational things out there, let Ryan know and had let me know through Tim that there's money available for the city, but it is a 1-to-1 match. And I think Ryan had an excellent idea in combining a couple of different things for Studler Pit as well as Judson, well, the parking lot, which would benefit the disc golf course too. It's getting a lot of use and it's in pretty rough shape. But so is that whole road down in
And
front
that
of
road down by
Yeah.
the beach just
Yeah.
sucks, so.
Yep,
Not very good.
and we're trying to market the lots up above. It'd be nice if it was nice all the way around.
Well,
So-
years ago, we were told not to fix up that road too good
Right.
because that controls the traffic, speed.
That's what our law
And we had-
enforcement said.
We had lots of speed down there. And there's a couple areas, we left them potholed up a little bit, and that was the purpose of that.
We
Because
could always put in a speed bump.
they were racing down there.
That's true.
Scary thing is, now they go on the bike trail. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I mean, my main reason for putting this, if that was the idea that came to my head, and I figured I'd bring it to the council to see if there's interest in this, knowing that it's gonna be a 1-to-1 grant, and Jim has called me a couple times in the past couple weeks, seeing if the city's interested, so,
Well, and some of the amenities too could be benches down in the disc golf area, permanent benches for people who are down using the course and things. Those things would qualify too. I know Tim had talked to him quite a bit about this kind of a grant. So enhancing that, enhancing our road, our parking lot, I think those are all good ideas. And going for the grant doesn't mean you're gonna get it. And if you get the grant, then it's a matter of can you come up with a match to what they're willing to give you. It doesn't hurt to have people willing to give you money for doing some good things.
Well, to apply for a grant, that's part of the grant application, is you gotta say, we're committing to so much money. You know, and we're asking for this, well, we're committing to this. Well, we don't have any money sitting anywhere to commit to this. Do we?
Do we? We've got money, but.
We have about 11,000 in Parks and Rec Capital Fund.
Right.
We have money in capital for street improvements.
Right. We have money in the general fund, but
We have money
we'd
in the
have to
general
shift it over. But,
I
It all depends on how much you're talking, you know, are we talking 250,000 or are we talking 50,000?
Well, this says available up to 100,000.
up to 100,000 matching
So-
is what this says.
That would mean that we'd put 100,000 if we got 100,000.
Well,
But
you can go down and you can mow Woodbridge and Whiteside with your lawnmower because the grass is growing and it's falling apart. You can go down Robert Street and it's just as bad. So you're gonna take money from the people that are paying taxes, you're gonna bring it down to the beach?
Well, they use those areas too.
Well, not,
It's all part of our community.
Well,
If
I'll
you
bet
can
you
get-
100% of the people use our streets. What percent of Buhl goes down to the beach?
I would think a pretty good percentage does,
I
John.
would say maybe 5
Oh,
from Buhl.
oh.
Well, I'm just saying that as an example.
We're just trying to fix them.
And if you get matching grant monies, then you look to where you might be able to utilize it.
No, if you take it
I
from
don't
this
think
one,
this
you're
is a
gonna,
bad-
yeah, you're,
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve, or apply for the grant.
For what amount?
Do we,
how can you come up with an amount? We don't even know what we got.
go for
Yeah.
100,000?
We can go up to 100,000 and
And if-
see if it's approved.
If it's approved, or if we don't have to spend that much money. I mean, maybe we could do something that's only $10,000 or something.
Hey, next year
See
you're
what's
gonna have a
available.
new mayor who's got creative ways of finding money. You never know. You may have another
Well, you don't
100,000.
pull it out of your,
Well,
we got streets in town we gotta fix. We shouldn't be wandering, I mean, we
these
can
are part of
patch.
Buhl too.
Oh my God.
There's a motion on the floor.
You might not get the grant, so.
Well, I agree with John on this, I guess, because I think you have a hard time explaining why you fixed that road. I know it's terrible, it's really bad. Something probably should be done, but we do have I mean, you hear all the time people complaining, why is my street not being fixed?
And yet our streets are better than most towns. We keep up on that pretty good, as best we can. Plus, we're applying for that big federal grant.
But that
To
doesn't, that's not for its streets.
Oh,
That's for,
infrastructure.
yeah,
Streets aren't included in infrastructure?
no. Unless you're digging up the street to
Get to the water
get
or
to the water
sewer?
and sewer.
Yeah. Well, there's a motion on the floor.
Yeah, this does not tie us into that we have to spend 100,000 if we go for the grant. We're
No,
just,
you're not even guaranteed that you're going to
Yeah.
be awarded the possibility of having grant funds.
Well, we don't know that. I mean, when you commit and you're asking for this money,
If we get it, do we have to use it, or what?
well,
No.
that's- we don't know that.
No.
You said no.
As far as the IRRR, I mean, I was just trying to gauge the council's interest. I mean, do you want me focusing my time on coming up with stuff? I mean, is it worthwhile? I guess was my question. Is this something that we want to see done? Is it something we want to wait a little bit for? Either way. I mean, when I drive down that way, I notice it's a bumpy ride.
Yeah, it's in
But-
pretty bad shape, and it's all part of the amenities that go along with our community. I understand people want their streets taken care of, and I think we try and keep up on that. But I think we also have to take care of the outlying areas of our town that make our town so special. We've got a beautiful park, we've got beautiful pits.
And just from talking to the IRRB, I mean, he's called me a couple times and sent emails that letting me know this money is there. You know, and my biggest question is the city gonna wanna match that 1-to-1? That was basically my
Well, it's
point.
either a city match or we find other ways of coming up with money.
Yeah,
And I don't know if there are other recreational type grants out there, but there could be. I'm not sure.
Don't they also frown upon, like, giving grants and then turning them down?
it's not their favorite thing in the world. I mean, I'd rather, I mean, we're still waiting to hear on the community infrastructure grant and things like that. You know, plus all coming up with the PFA, plus the USDA grants, now coming up after the first of the year, that those will start getting in. But basically, my thought of putting this on there was just letting the council know that this money is
Well, right,
there.
you're
and
not
there-
making decisions, you're just letting us know what the information is.
Exactly.
You're not in the middle of any of this, it's just,
Oh, no.
I understand that, and I see, you know, whenever we have an opportunity to get twice as much for our money, it's worth looking at. Now, whether or not people value putting money into those kind of amenities when they live on a rough street, if they're okay with that or not, I don't know. If you had the money to do their street, I could understand them getting upset with it, but if you have an opportunity for some grant money to do something else in your town that needs to be looked at eventually, we gotta do something to fix that up.
Well, it's the same
terrible.
thing as if you take that money and use it against an IRB or CDBG grant to fix Robert Street or Whiteside Woodbridge.
Well,
You
that's
have
what
to
we-
have some money in a pot.
Yeah.
And basically, when you get that money, it's a grant. You know, if you need 200,000 and IRRB gives you 100,000, you have to come up with 100,000, but at least we're using it for where people are paid their taxes for it.
Well, they pay their taxes for everything in town.
Yeah, I mean,
Buhl wouldn't be much if it didn't have all these other things, John. I see them as being the treasures of our
Well,
community.
I'm looking at 100% of people that use any one of our streets in town compared to 5 or 10% that take it right around the pit.
Most streets in town, I don't go down more than a couple of times a month maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
And if you had to put all your, if you wanted to fix it up, you would have to pay 100% of it. This, at least you're getting a match.
No,
And
when you,
there's
when
time
you,
to
when you
look
do
for the
any
grant
street that
monies
we've ever
and that.
done, we've asked for money from IRB or CDBG.
Right.
We just made a motion to,
But the IRRB hasn't been doing so much with infrastructure. I've heard they're gonna start doing more again, that's possible. And if you can get matching funds from them to go with the CDBG, that'll cut back on the city's portion too.
I mean, we just asked for 90,000 from CDBG and we gotta come up with 25.
Yeah.
Well, we have to have money in a pot in order to ask for that 90,000.
Right.
If you're gonna go and spend it down at the pit, and we have to do a project in town, we don't have the money to apply. Unless we go following year and raise taxes.
We're just applying for a grant. I mean, it's not saying we're gonna get it. They could say, no, you're not gonna get it. Or they're gonna say, oh, here's maybe 20,000.
Right.
It's not a guarantee, but you might as well ask for what is there to see what you can get.
Well,
You don't have to use-
disagree, but go ahead.
You know,
Generally, the process for applying for the IRRB grants is you do a very vague, like extremely vague pre-application. That gets approved with not much information the city has to provide. Then they give you the full application, that's where we'd have to put together the numbers and everything like that. So that's kind of how the process works with the IRRB.
So if after the first stab at it, you start looking at the hard, what exactly you want to do and what exactly it's going to cost, what exactly we have to put in, and what other funds might be available, then you can either say, this isn't going to work for us, or scale it back, or whatever at that point too. There's some flexibility with going with these grants. But I'm with Stuart, I think it's worth moving ahead to at least see what we can get and see what we can find out there. There may be some recreational grants available, John, if we look around, that would match this for us and it wouldn't cost the city. Doesn't hurt to look, I don't think. Anyway,
Well, there is a motion on the floor I will support.
any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carried. I need a motion to close the meeting so we can go into,
I'll make a motion to close the meeting. Support.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Have a motion to open the open meeting?
Yeah, support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The one other piece of business is a new sign for Burton Park. We have a couple of examples from Bark Design. I asked Ryan to get me some designs from them so we could consider it, because those two poles have been up there bare for over a year, and it would be really nice to have a sign up there that says Burton Park. I like the sign on the right myself.
I prefer that also.
is this going over by the basketball courts or?
No, over by the skating shack, where you go in through the gate there.
Welcome you to the
The
whole
poles
park.
are still there. I took the old sign down last year because it was dilapidated, and it just never got replaced, so we'd like to see it replaced. And
Is there a certain color on these, Ryan, or?
The ones that he did were kind of like a green, a couple different shades of green, all kind of outlined in gold. It kind of blended in
it really did
well
look
with the
sharp.
park.
Okay.
I know blue and gold has been,
Right.
I think that the ones he showed me fit in a lot better than doing something bright and appealing to vandals, so to speak. But I mean, it was very tasteful. And the only thing on the invoice, just to mention, they did put installment, but I think that's something the city crew should have
City
no
crew could do that. The
problem
poles are
doing.
there, yeah. Yeah. That could either come out of the rec fund or you can take it out of the mayor's account, I don't care.
Well, that's what I suggested.
That's fine, that's fine.
I'll make a motion that we go with the one on the right.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Rumor has it they're shedding their trees in your area?
Yeah, they're gonna come in and log it.
Yeah, well, they were asking if we wanted to log like,
Well, that's gotta go to BDA, that's BDA's,
oh, okay.
so that's not for you.
I'll make a
Could I have a
motion.
motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion. Sure.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, this meeting's adjourned.